The unsurpassed, penetrating, and perfect truth is seldom met with, even in 100,000 myriad kalpas. Now we can see and hear it. We can remember and accept it. I vow to make the Buddha's truth one with myself. Homage to the Buddha, homage to the Dharma, homage to the Sangha. So this is the last day of a wonderful and very full retreat. So I'm tired, I bet a number of us are, and hopefully I specifically tried to do a shorter Dharma talk. I love to talk, but this hopefully will not be one of those times where I talk too much. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story, and it's one of my favorite stories in Buddhism. I love it, and so I'm just going to jump in. And this is my interpretation of the story, but I hope I'm staying true to the heart of it. So once upon a time, there was a man who was so harmful and so despicable in his behavior. He was angry all the time, he was killing, he was raping, he was burning down villages. He was not a happy camper. He was not a good person in the sense of his behavior, okay? He still had the Buddha nature, but he was acting in a way contrary to it. And one day he was walking across the field on his way to do more damage to the world, and he saw a little spider scurrying, trying to get out of his way. And he starts to stomp on her. And for some reason, he doesn't. He hesitates. And then he steps over her. Soon the man is killed, and he is reborn in a hell realm of the sea of feces, pus, and blood. About as yucky as you can imagine. And the people who do these terrible things, they're swimming in this sea, and they swim, but there's no place to get out, and they can't get out, and they get exhausted, and they drown, and then they're immediately reborn in the same sea. So it's actually a very hellish and terrible place. And it's important to remember that we often sentence ourselves. And we know this if we watch our minds. We put ourselves in hell sometimes. And it's something we do to ourselves, okay? Meanwhile, the spider has died and is reborn as a spider. And she's in this beautiful garden. And she finds herself on a rock. And she's sitting on the rock, and right next to her is the Buddha. And they're in this beautiful garden, and it's luscious green and beautiful white and yellow flowers, and they're sitting in front of a pool. There's this little pool in the garden, and it's turquoise and beautiful and clear. And the spider looks in the pool with the Buddha, and they see down to the hell realm. And immediately the spider starts spinning a thread, and she sends it through the water down to the hell realm where the man is. And he sees this thin silver thread, and he grabs it, and it holds. And so he starts climbing out. And as he's climbing out, he looks down, and he sees all the other beings in hell are trying to climb up the silver thread too. So he yells at them, no, he's terrified. They'll break the thread. And of course, by his trying to kick them and keep them off, the thread breaks, and they're all back into hell. So that's the story, okay? Now, that's quite a story. It's one of my favorites, as I said. But there's a number of things. First of all, we should be sympathetic to the person, the man, who among us in a time of great stress and terror doesn't want to push away someone that they feel is interfering with their survival. So always be sympathetic. We understand this, we could do this ourselves. Thank you. And so, and yet it's also really important to remember that that which comes to help us breaks if we're selfishly responding to it. So that's really an important part too. Compassion is strong if it's shared with others. Okay, that's one of my interpretations of this story, but very, very important aspect. Another important aspect of the story is that he could have crushed the spider when he was going along, and he didn't. And that there are moments when all of us, even the most despicable, have a moment of goodness. And that moment of goodness is very powerful. And it becomes an opportunity for redemption or transformation or whatever. It becomes the thing that can help us. None of us is so terrible there isn't something nice. Now, I'm going to give you a case. I know very little about him as a person. I know that Stalin in Russia during the 30s and 40s, well, 40s is when he took full power, he killed millions of people. But I read somewhere that he was very kind to his daughter. And I thought to myself, well, there was something good, one goodness. Don't ever doubt that. Don't ever begrudge someone a moment of goodness. So, why am I telling this story at the end of Sagaki and the founder ceremony that we just did? And it's because I think it relates very much to what we're doing. So, as we all know, Sagaki is an offering of compassion for beings who are in hellish realms, hungry ghosts, beings who have died, beings who may be judging themselves. And so this story is for all of us, right? It's for all of us. And so there's this, we're offering merit, and we're offering chanting and singing for the benefit of beings to help lighten the load, to make them know that, as it says in the Heart Sutra, oh Shariputra, form is only pure, pure is all form. There is then nothing more than this, and it is our judgments that separate us from this purity. So we can relate to what's going on with other beings, all of us. And there's nothing like the fires of hell to wholeheartedly remind us to share and open our hearts to others. That's the truth. And we all know this from our own experience, truthfully. So, and when I'm talking about hungry ghosts and beings in hell, it can be states of mind, and it can be actual places. And actually, it doesn't matter how we think of it. It's the principles and how we apply them to our lives that are really important, and that's the heart of it. And their lessons, the lessons that we can learn from this story, they're very practical. They're very practical. Just apply them. If someone's in a hell realm, we can just offer them a silver thread. You can't literally necessarily do that, but you can. You know what I'm talking about. That willingness to just be still and be with someone and offer compassion to them. Whether they know that's what you're doing or not is not the problem. It's not your problem, it's not their problem. It's just an offering. And offerings find their way no matter what. all the way down to hell, as the spider shows us. Now, there's a beautiful painting of a Sagaki ceremony, and I don't know whether we've had it up during the retreat or not, but it's a wonderful painting, and it has this picture of an altar, and the monks are at the altar. Some monks are at the altar, and they're happy as can be because underneath the altar, up in the sky, a gaki is getting the Dharma and just gets it. And you can see that gaki is just, oh, wow. And the monks are going, yes. So that's kind of what Sagaki is really about. We're all participating in that. And when we did the ceremony yesterday, the monks were circumambulating and the laity are circumambulating. And this is where the spider's thread relates. Because in one sense, we're all participating in the passing and the receiving of the silver thread. And whether you see it or not is not the issue at all. It's just to trust that there is this incredible gentleness and offering and love and compassion that's going on. And we're all participating in it, all of us are participating in it. And that's what the little spider was trying to teach us. And who among us does not need compassion and love, and who among us has not grabbed for it and find it break? So it really relates. In our participation, sometimes we can feel the power of this. I think everyone who was here for the ceremony, and maybe those who were participating online, could feel the power of what's going on. And I think that power is the power of compassion and love, and that it is a very powerful thing. And whether we have visions of gakis or whether we don't, it means nothing, really. What really means is that we attune ourselves to the power. And sometimes people find it disconcerting and whoa, that was, kind of bounced around a bit from Sagaki. And that's perfectly normal because that's kind of shaking us a little loose. So the spider, I told you I'm on the last page. I told you it's going to be a short one. So the last page, the last part of the spider's thread, I want to relate it to the founder's ceremony, because in a very clear sense, there is a passing of a silver thread of the Dharma down through the ages. We all wouldn't be here, as Reverend Master said in her offering, if Koho Zenji hadn't met Reverend Master Jiyu in the 1960s and invited her to come to study in Japan. I think she arrived in 1962, so it was very early. And he was on a teaching tour, and he went to England and America, and was asking for permission to bring the Dharma into these countries. And boy, did he. So, and we're so grateful for that. And all you have to do is just think about how many people have benefited from Reverend Master Jiyu courageously going and getting the Dharma. And it was not easy. It was not an easy venture for her. And I never forget that. I mean, she basically ruined her health in order to bring us the Dharma. So it's very serious to recognize how grateful we can be for someone's training of the Dharma. The Buddha, case in point, 2,500 years ago, and we're still benefiting from his profound teaching. So, and I don't know about you, but there have been times in my life when it felt like my life was hanging by a thread. And somehow, because it didn't break and because of the sharing, I've landed here. And I literally felt that Reverend Master Jiyu saved my life. I literally felt that. And I'm so deeply grateful to that love and that sharing that goes among us, for all of us, this silver thread, this wonderful thing. So I want to read you, I was really struck by it, the Founder's Vow. We sang this verse. The Founder's Vow is pure and still. It streams full from the source, unborn, undying, to all it flows, unbounded in its course. And that is what that silver thread is all about. That's what the littlest thing of compassion and love is, just so important for all of us. So now, so it has great power. You listen to the news and you begin to feel this, oh my God, what's happening? Are things really going to fall apart or whatever? That's not our problem. Our problem is to continue to believe that the thread is there and share that thread with others. That's the point. Forget about the news, and the news has always been terrible. Really, it's very interesting. As you can tell, I love history. I read a book called The Berlin Diary about World War II, and it's about Hitler. And William Shirer is the author, and he was a journalist, and he was in Nazi Germany until they kicked him out in 1942. Then they kicked everybody out and just had the Germans there. And at the end of his book, he was so depressed because it looked so much like Hitler was going to conquer the world. And then 3 years later, Hitler was dead. And it didn't work. So it's like, don't get too caught in that news. Anyway, so, and the other thing I want to mention is when we wish to share that silver thread, Reverend Master Jiyu used to say, be careful how you go with the truth under your coat. It's very careful. You have to be careful. Sometimes you want to be compassionate or kind to someone, and it's not necessarily safe to do so. And you have to discern. That spider, bless her heart, she saw he was in trouble, she did it, she jumped right in. Sometimes there are moments like that when you can just go straight at it. And there are other times when you have to be careful. So it's really important to remember that. And sometimes bad experiences come from our not being careful with something really precious. So it's really a good thing. And in light of that, you can always share unseen. And I find that's a really important point, that people don't have to know what we're doing, so that's a very important thing. And I want to say, if a little spider can share it, surely we can too. So I've got 2 more things to say. When things are chaotic and falling apart for us, it's very helpful to reflect on the power of good. And I think there is a tendency to focus. We all have it. I do. We all have it, to focus on the disturbing things that are going on. And we forget about how much good is going on. There's so much good going on in this world right now. There are, among animals, among insects, among ourselves. So never forget the power of good. And it's so much bigger than we think. And case in point, this little spider was doing so much good. I think that's really important. Your practice, your meditation, you're trying to watch a frenetic and fraught mind, and you think, well, what's the point? I mean, what good does that do? But it does enormous good. I guarantee you, it does enormous good. And sometimes things calm down, and sometimes they don't. But the offering of compassion and our hard work is much more than we can fathom. It's way beyond. It's beyond. Dogen said it was beyond what a Buddha could fathom. So on that wonderful and happy note, thank you all for being here.